In today's world of high-speed connection, text messaging, and social networking, we often find ourselves searching for information. There are millions of blogs on the internet. News, sports, politics, and tech. But I bring it all together for you and present it in a relentlessly unconventional fashion. My name is Zennie Abraham, and this is the Blog Report. It's time now for news. Hey everybody, I want to talk to you for a second about Josh Wolf. Josh, if you've probably heard the name, it's because of this 2006 court case where Josh was asked basically to give over his videos of a protest because, from Josh's point of view, the people representing the FBI and the federal agents wanted to see who was involved in the protests, and they claimed that an officer was harmed, but the video that they thought Josh had wasn't the one that showed any police officer being harmed at all. In spite of that, Judge William Alsop demanded Josh give his video material over, turn it over, and also federal agents asked that he be forced to testify regarding those videos in court. Josh didn't want to do either of those. So the judge basically ordered that he be thrown in jail for civil contempt of court. Now, Josh was never charged of a crime. In spite of that, he spent approximately 170 days in jail, the longest serving time of any journalist in United States history. 226 days in captivity. When he was released, it led to a change in California law, a brand new shield law, such that video bloggers and journalists are now protected. Where you got your source from can remain more anonymous than ever. Who your source is can remain more anonymous than ever. In a sense, a celebration, but a reminder of Josh's contributions, Sierra Choi is producing a documentary called Quiet Uprising. It's about Josh Wolf and his time in jail in Santa Rita minimum security prison that they put him in, but still. Folks, we'll be right back with more from the blogosphere. I'm Zennie Abraham, and you're watching CoLoursTV. It's time now for news. The Parkway Theater behind me is closing. And unfortunately, Catherine and Kyle Fisher have said that they don't feel they can run it due to the economic downturn, but the announcement of its closure drew a large crowd today, and this is actually the last show. They're showing Revolutionary Road and another movie called Let the Right One In.
I mean, there's different.
Hey, what do you think about the Parkway closing?
I think it really sucks.
Yeah. You want to save it? What do we do to keep it open?
I feel like there's probably got to be some economic stimulus money, some recognition, some pressure. In Berkeley, they're just going to kick out the Ashby flower stand because Whole Foods wanted to do a cafe there, and the flower stand had been there 30 years. And the city council was able to mobilize, Chris Worthington especially, to get Whole Foods to back off. And Whole Foods is like maybe a large institution. I don't know who the landlord of this place is or what's going on in Oakland. Like sometimes they seem like they're out of touch.
Yeah.
But at least seems like they could do that too, like take care of business. The Parkway is pretty special.
Well, it's sort of a bummer. I live in Oakland. I live on Lakeshore, not all that far away. And it's been here for, well, he was telling me for, you know, a few generations, a long time, since the 20s. So, you know, I used to come here and see Firefly. They used to have it once a month on the big screen, and, you know, I could play it at home, but anyway, it's something about this place is very unique. It's very sweet. You know, the food thing, and the couches, and the people that hang out at tables together, and you don't know anybody. You come in the theater, you meet people.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that kind of place, and you know, you don't get that in the multiplexes where you're in a theater the size of a bathroom, and you know, and you know. You've seen those, right? The Jack London Square? This is bigger than one of the theaters, right? This one room is bigger than a theater at the multiplex at Jack London Square. I mean, you know. Plus, they don't have the cute numbers. You know, the 5, the V. And sometimes when they have 2, they always make it really something funny. I've noticed that too.
The way that it affects my life, beyond, you know, the fact that I'm losing a place that I love and that I dedicate every single weekend to working here, is that I'm losing my job. And I got 4 days notice, and I'm going to be unemployed. I'm trying to graduate. 4 days? 4 days. Actually, the community email for the Parkway was blasted before the employees found out. And I'm talking about employees that have been here for 9 years, 10 years, getting 4 days notice. It was said on their Facebook that they were giving us all jobs at the other theater, and that's not true. And so I think people should know that the majority of the employees here are losing their jobs with very little notice. And, you know, some people are actually going to have to leave the Bay Area because they can't afford to live here anymore, and it's really affecting all of us.
Will you be able to draw unemployment through this, though? Or?
I won't, because I'm a student, which apparently limits your unemployment. They have promised letters of recommendation for each and every one of us, so it's very generous. But it was really shocking, and then, you know, an hour after that we had to open our doors, and we were flooded. We were never this busy, ever. And so the employees have been working double time on top of feeling pretty betrayed. A couple people didn't come in because they were too angry. And so, you know, however anybody, you know, feels about the Parkway employees, some people think that we're the worst part of it. We're what keeps it going. We do all of the grunt labor. We sit there and sweep up everybody's popcorn every night, and it's a hard job. We don't get paid a lot, but we do it because we love the Parkway. And we're all really, really shocked and just traumatized by having to say goodbye to something that we put our lives into every week. You know, we're here every week.
Can be done? Has anyone said, hey, you know?
I don't know.
Is it that bad? The death? I mean, because people have been going to movies. I was shocked to find out.
You know, people haven't been coming that much. We have been slower. I think there are a lot of reasons for that. You know, people want to see the movies they want to see, and sometimes that isn't the ones we're showing. Whatever, but I don't know what's to be done, because it's the employees. I mean, it's the owners of the building that have evicted the Parkway. So there's the owners of the building, and there's the owners of the Parkway as a business, and they have had a legal battle, and that's why the Parkway is closing. We were evicted with very short notice, but yeah.
That's kind of stupid, because they're not going to be able to replace it with anything here.
Yeah, I don't know what they think they're going to do, but I think they have it in their heads that they can get more money, more rent for this place than we were paying, and so yeah, I know. It was a big, long legal battle, and it ended in eviction. So
This is a historic landmark right here in Oakland. I'm going to do everything I can to save this historic landmark.
I mean, this
movie theater, the young lady told me this has been here, my guess was right. I figured it was as old as even all the way back to the 30s or even 20s. And the young lady told me this movie theater has been here since the 1920s. Me being a third-generation Oaklander, my grandmother lived to be 93, lived on East 15th Street for over 70 years. She was here with my mother, who is now 89 years old. My mother went to Oakland High School, so I have very fond memories of my grandmother and my mother, who's still alive, 89 years old, now lives in Marin County, she used to come here. And we had a lot of friends in the neighborhood here because my mother and grandmother were Italians, and they had Italian friends right here in the neighborhood. So I have been active in some fairs in the city of Oakland before. It's a good chance I'm going to get active in this. I helped save Lake Chabot Golf Course just not that many years ago, and we won that. We saved Lake Chabot Golf Course. The city of Oakland was trying to turn it into I'm glad you remember that. The hotel turn it into a country club. That's a public-owned course, a very historic course, Works Progress Administration. So this Parkway Theater is very plain simple. It's a historic, one of the crown jewels of Oakland. One of the crown jewels of Oakland. And the young lady told me the story. It's the landlords who are to blame by radically raising the rent on the operators of the Parkway Theater, who have done great things with this theater in recent years. And I'm sorry to say I've been so busy doing this and that, I never got down here, and then I got the horrible news on Washington TV this past week. And I said, I've got to get down here. And, you know, tonight's Sunday night, March 22nd, but unfortunately the tickets are sold out. But I saw the news today, and it doesn't surprise me at all that there is going to be a lot of people in Oakland feel the same way that I do, and this is far from over. And there's a public outcry going on right now.
I think it's a real shame. This is it's an important space, and it's important for this community, and it's, you know, I think there's people here who still remember what it was like before they came here. I'm not one of them, but I do live around the corner. I am worried to see how things are going to change to just have a big empty rotting building. I don't think that does anybody any good. So that's pretty much my feelings on that.
That's good. Oh. It's a better angle. Okay, cool. All right. Bye. All right, see ya. Okay, see you later. Okay. All right, see ya. Well, it's sad, but if the landlord can really work out
I hope the landlord
the issues.
goes bankrupt.
Oh, did you hear?
For being green. Oh,
that's Barry.
Here comes the bus.
That's Barry. Uh-oh, here comes the bus. All right. Anyway, if the landlord can work out his problems, or her problems, maybe there's a second life for the Parkway. But right now, tonight's the last night, and that's too bad. I've had a lot of great moments here. But it can be saved. It can be saved. Folks, we'll be right back with more from the blogosphere. It's time now for sports. Hi, everyone. In a move that occurred approximately an hour and a half ago, the Dallas Cowboys cut wide receiver Terrell Owens. It was after Terrell posted his lowest season totals in his career with 1,052 yards and 20 touchdowns. Terrell, however, over the last 3 seasons with the Cowboys, 2006, 2007, and 2008, posted 3,587 yards, and 38 touchdowns, the most of any NFL player going back to 2006. Now, why Terrell Owens was cut is that reportedly, according to several sources, starting with Michael Smith at ESPN, who I know and respect, say that there were people who basically wanted Terrell out of the locker room, that the locker room chemistry wasn't very good with him in it. Now, more specifically, Terrell did not get along with Cowboys offensive coordinator Jason Garrett. He didn't like Jason Garrett's schemes. And of course, there was the famous incident between Terrell Owens, tight end Jason Witten, and Tony Romo, where Terrell thought that Jason Witten and Tony Romo were making up plays and excluding him from the conversation. Now, on the face of it, you would say, why is he concerned with this, and should he not act like a baby? But consider this. If your contract is based on your performance, and the more you catch the ball, and the more touchdowns you score, the more money you make, you're going to be concerned if someone is leaving you out of the pass-catching equation. And that is what was happening. In fact, the simple fact that Terrell Owens' numbers are so low, the lowest in his career, really supports his fear that they were cutting him out of the passing game. I also support Terrell's criticism of Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett is a terrible offensive coordinator. And why Jerry Jones jumps from one offensive coordinator to the other without establishing a system a la the system that Bill Walsh built in San Francisco is beyond me. Anti-intellectualism, perhaps? I don't know. But I know that I can specifically tell you the problem with Jason Garrett's schemes is A, they are predictable. B, their pass blocking systems are not such that the pocket doesn't collapse quickly. He uses a quasi-70s style of blocking where the offensive linemen retreat too much. And the pass patterns are rudimentary, without adjustment, and simple. It's not like the offenses Owens has been used to playing, which have been primarily West Coast in style. If one wants to get great use out of Terrell Owens, you put him in the backfield, you move him around, you get him into one-on-one matchups where he can catch the ball and make plays. And that's just it. Terrell Owens is a playmaker. Yeah, you're saying he caused problems in the locker room. Really, he didn't. Terrell Owens was a person who challenged authority. And the problem with the NFL is you have far too many people who still don't understand how to make collaborative relationships. They're more accustomed to control relationships. And Terrell Owens is not a person who wants to be controlled. The other problem is this, that when you have a player like Terrell Owens, as I said to Keith Fahnhorst, the former 49er linebacker, at a Super Bowl party approximately 4 years ago, you have to remember that the athlete is essentially an artist. And you have to give them room to be creative. Keith Fahnhorst liked my point. He said that no one ever thought about that regarding an artist. Regarding an athlete, excuse me. They are artists. And so Owens was cursed by not having people around who thought of him in that way. He is a true artist and, in my opinion, a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, he is out in the NFL wilderness in search of a team, totally shocked that this has all happened to him at a time when last year he got a 3-year contract extension worth approximately $24 million. Now he's released and the Dallas Cowboys take a $9 million salary cap hit. It's unfortunate that Terrell can't find a home where there are enough people secure enough to work with him and get the best out of him. It's too bad that Terrell finds himself in a place consistently where there are always people trying to upstage, one-up, or prove that they are, quote, boss over him. That is why he is consistently released, and that's why the teams that have him have not understood how to get the best out of him consistently. I'll stick up for Terrell Owens. He's a great talent, and consider this. He has had no negative off-the-field incident. No domestic violence disputes, no Pac-Man Jones issues, nothing. Terrell Owens is the kind of person that you can really build a great passing game around if you know what you're doing. And why not consult him as well? He's been in the league that long. He's 36 years old. He's got at least 5 good years left in him, and he's in great shape. I think a team that takes him has a very secure management structure and many people that are in place that are secure enough with themselves to succeed. I thought maybe the Oakland Raiders were a good choice, but on second thought, I'm not quite so sure. I would wish that the Indianapolis Colts would turn around and try to bring him into their fold. I think either the Colts or the New England Patriots could really take a person like Terrell Owens and win a championship with him. It's time now for tech. Hi everybody. Yesterday, St. Patrick's Day Tuesday, the Seattle Post-Intelligencer closed its doors. There's no longer a newspaper edition. Now, today, the Hearst Corporation, the parent company that owns the Seattle PI, as it's called locally and now nationally, said that the online edition represented a daring, bold, new experiment in media. But I looked at the website today and I saw nothing that was daring, bold, new, or experimentational about what they put online. It was very basic to me. But it underscores part of the problem. Let me explain what has happened and why newspapers around the country are either decreasing in size or, in the case of the Seattle PI, unfortunately ceasing to exist altogether. In 1980, we essentially had three types of what I call media outlets. We had radio, broadcast television, and magazine newspapers. But then by the mid-80s, we had the advent of something we now call cable television, ESPN being the best example, and now 500 channels where which people can put their message out in different categories. And then toward the 90s, we had the advent of something we now call websites. We called them websites then. But then in the turn of the century, turn of the 21st century, and in 2003, we had the advent of what we now call blogs. They were called weblogs initially. Then we went from weblogs to, within just 2 years, online video distribution, paced by YouTube. Now we have mobile. So if you think about it, over those years, we've had a dramatic increase in the number of ways to get your word out, number of media outlets. Meanwhile, while we've had an increase in ad dollars for media, what has happened is that even as those ad dollars were increasing, we had more media outlets for those ad dollars to be split among. All right, so there was less money per media outlet. Then something happened. You know it, and I know it as the credit crunch. Now there's not only less money to go around, there's even less money to go around for newspapers to operate newspapers the size they used to be. And then there's another problem. Many newspaper managers don't understand the other media outlet types, what we call new media. They don't understand how to make money from them. So we have situations where the San Francisco Chronicle is being out-revenued, if you will. In other words, making less money than Craigslist, which took in last year $80 million. We have examples where the Huffington Post is worth more in value than the Washington Post online.com and dramatically more than SF Gate. And I personally know of examples where media people just don't get it. For example, with the Oakland Tribune, the then current editor in 2006, a gentleman by the name of Martin Reynolds, I approached with the idea of creating something called the Monty Poole Show around my friend Oakland Tribune columnist Monty Poole. The idea was to take Monty and make him a fixture in three areas: television, newspaper where he is at, and online. So we would take the same online clip that we made for a YouTube channel, Monty Poole, the Monty Poole Show, and we would take that clip and put it on television, on Coffee TV 20, and then that clip we based around content that Monty wrote about in his column. So think about it. What I was trying to engineer was a system where one advertiser could pay money to this basic team between my company, the Oakland Tribune, and Coffee, and have those ad dollars go mostly to Monty because it would be Monty's show as the star, but then also get Monty's word out in these three different ways that present a robust media component, a powerful media component. Martin said no. He's under contract with us, period. That's it. End of story. Didn't want to talk about the technology or anything. This was 2006. Now what's happening? The Media News Group, which owns the Oakland Tribune, is losing a lot of money. And the Oakland Tribune is a mere skeleton of itself, even then in 2006. I can go on with different examples. People I've talked to locally who I asked to join on with our blogs and rebuff me, and now they're no longer working for either the Chronicle or any of the other news organizations they were involved in. Newspaper people are slow to adjust. They're slow to get it. They want to hang on to what they think is the ideal way of making money, but they don't realize is not the only way of making money and getting the news out there. For example, there's an idea of micropayments for news. No one wants to pay for news. Craigslist offers a better example in that no one pays for the right to post or see their listings or opinions. They only pay for the postings for jobs. That's where the large share of that $80 million in revenue comes from. So similarly, why not have as your newspaper structure a system where you pay for the classifieds but not the news? Because no one wants to pay for news to begin with. Novel idea, right? Why haven't newspapers done it? In my opinion, newspaper managers need to wake up and do more than smell the coffee. They need to change, adjust, and become rapidly multimedia.